Okay, so hey, black women. All right. I have to bring y'all this video, at least clips of it, because I thought it was very funny, and not only funny, but insightful and full of real history, right? So, there is a channel that is a divestment channel right now. I don't really watch this channel, but you know how recommendations go by, and I just happened to start listening to a little bit of it, and it was funny as hell to me. But I thought that I should put it in a video to kind of give it a little bit more context, right? So, all right, you guys remember when I did the live yesterday, I spoke about how it's important to know your black history and be proud of that and whatnot, right? So it is true, and especially in the cases where you have these days, like a lot of these black guys and black women. Hold on, I'm trying to get my stand off the phone so it can sit on my lap. 1 second. All right, there we go. So, you know how we have a lot of these people, and in particular, people like Women's Fair. I really don't like how she's doing that, and I don't like how Cynthia G does that. I don't like that. I don't like how you could sit there and you could talk about all of the wrongs and how these dudes are not right about the way they go about things, but then you still encourage black women to be in relationships with them where you know they're going to get hurt. And it's not a figment of our imagination. Black femicide is very real. Everybody knows it, but they want to try to act like it's not as pandemic, as not as much as a pandemic as it is, so that therefore people don't have to account for it and own up to their level of responsibility in it, whether they're a woman or a black male, right? So in this particular divestors video, now mind you, once again, I am not promoting nor am I advocating for her, but my thing is, you don't have to like people or agree with them to accept a matter-of-fact point or get clarity on some of the muckery that's going on in your head about the state of this attack that black males are waging on black women and little girls, right? There is no gender war, because a war means that people fight equally back at each other. Black women have never been on an equal standing with any man in America, even if it was a black male. So these particular clips I wanted to bring to your attention because they point out how the particular whites in this country, and they don't have a title, really, because you could call yourself whatever you want, but your actions dictate who you really are, right? So these particular white guys, and keep in mind, right, that these two white guys and the majority of white guys that usually come on this woman's page, they have affiliations with black women. So their insight and their contribution is biased because they're not the average white man in America who has no contact with black women whatsoever, and really, therefore, because they have no contact with her and they have no relationship in any way, they don't really care about what happens to you. And actually, they work against you to maintain the status quo of what their people collectively have and want to maintain. I also want to interject real quickly that I want all of you black women that follow me to encourage others to follow me and others like me who are trying to teach black women things outside of relationship issues with black males, because there is a real emerging problem in this world that's going on with this Ukraine war currently. I want y'all to know that the other countries of the world, because there's 44 countries of this world that have come together after World War II to make the World Bank, where the US dollar is the top currency for all those countries. But all those countries right now are not simultaneously, but one after one, moving against America to make the American dollar no longer the world currency. They're trying to replace it with the Chinese, yen or something like that. And China and Brazil are the two number one countries pushing for that move, while you have other countries like Russia and some of India, who also have their money is seriously globally valued. So you have those 4 countries currently competing against the American dollar. Like they're trying to get other countries to come on board with them to wipe out the monopoly that the American dollar has all over the world. So keep this in mind, because this will impact America. America literally is on its way to its fall. So, it's fucked up, but I gotta say this. Gaddafi was trying to do this before they killed him. And now more countries are picking up on this, including Africa, because Kenya was one of the countries too from Africa that was mainstreaming this. So anyway, I want you to understand that, because in telling you this, I need y'all to broaden your mind and get involved in knowing more about politics, knowing more about what's going on in this world and how it will most definitely affect you. Now, in addition to that, they also have, if you Google it, the American banks just started looking at replacing the American dollar with a type of electronic currency. They didn't name it, but if you Google that, you can read the articles to see what they're trying to implement. They haven't done it all the way, but it is a beginning process, and this is a result of what's happening in the world. So this Ukraine war, I think this was an insane power move grab by China and Russia, and they are not fucking around. So it behooves you to know everything that's going on around you in this world, even if it's not directly next door to you. So that's the end of me telling you that. And a great source of information, if y'all not aware, is a YouTube channel I actually subscribe to called Al Jazeera. It's an English version, because normally it's in Arabic, but it's Al Jazeera, right? So they talk about everything that goes all over the world. And for those of you got channel, tune into the BBC channel, the English channel from England. Tune into that one, because they give you a lot of world news too, okay? Or actually, it's not from England, it's from the UK. But anyway, tune in, all right? So anyway, I just talked about that to explain to you how when you listen to different people's perspectives, you must keep in mind the context of their comments and where they're coming from, right? So you can understand what it is they're saying. So in these particular clips I'm going to put together following me speaking now, I want you to hear 2 white men, right, that a lot of people have different opinions of in the whole YouTube, community, and this particular divested woman. But I want you to listen closely to what they're saying, because even though they have an extreme bias, they're saying something that is very true about the American society and America on a whole. So when this particular woman has one of the white men read a message that was posted from a very ignorant black dude trying to redirect the conversation of black femicide into genocide by white people and white supremacy, I need you to hear, and I mean really hear and take in the message that these 2 different white men are saying, and I want you to think about that later, so that when you see and hear these black guys talking to you about relationships, remember what the second white guy has to say, and remember that on a worldwide scale, this is the animalistic behavior that these black males portray, not only to the world, but literally to the black women that they live with, or live near, or live amongst. So listen deeply, understand it, try to really, really think hard about the impact of what the words mean, because it's a reality. And that when he tells this particular story that I was told as a young girl from Louisiana, there's a pirate, right? John Lafitte. Now this dude was a fucking criminal, right? But remember I told y'all that during the time of Queen Sugar, New Orleans was like Louisiana was the richest state in America. So as the richest state in America, during their, breaking away from England and all that, English people came for them, because they felt like, oh, y'all think y'all so rich and you think you could do this, but you're going to still respect us, right? So during that time, right, you had the North fighting against the South. We all know this is history, to end slavery. and you also had troops that came from England and the British people to try to hold on to the strongholds that they had left in America. So there was a lot of racial climate going on at that time. And the reason that this man's story is important, the same way the second white man introduced it, is because what John Lafitte did, because he cared about a black woman, speaks to the nature of some white men, not all, who have this proclivity to do the right thing at any fucking cost. And another white man that comes to mind that does not get the credit in history that he deserves is the abolitionist John Brown. This is a man who sacrificed his entire family and his own life for the end of slavery, because he was really what they try to describe as a man of God, as really as a man of God. Like, he really believed all people were created equal and what you're doing is wrong, and he fought every day of his life to stop that until the white people took his life and his last remaining son's life. So those things I just told you, try to hold on to them as you listen to what these two guys talk about. And I need you to hear this so it opens you up to more clarity, so that you understand that there is no such thing as genocide when it comes to black women, realizing that you, at this point in the history of the world that we're in right now, you have to move away from black males if you want to survive. And I mean that literally. I mean, if you want to survive, to be able to live and have healthy children, get out of poverty, and be part of this political system, and become really part of the world where you have some power, you have to move away from them, because they really want to destroy you, and that is really no bullshit. It really is. So let me let y'all hear these other people, and then I'll come back.
All the time. So, moving forward, I wanted to talk about these comments that was left on the last live. I really want to get to this because this is a common gaslighting tactic that black men like to.
And are your mother
molest their fucking daughter and not do shit simply because true to your people. Like, fuck
yeah
that. If that's your people, then you need to find some new people because your people fucking suck.
yeah
But
but
this right here,
it's kind of little, so bear with me. Wake up, black women, this is madness, and you are causing genocide on yourselves. It's bad enough this white man enslaves your ancestors, deprived them of their God-given freedom, lynched your fathers and are your mothers, but do not allow him to exterminate you off of the planet Earth and put the end to your melanin rich complexion that makes you the most beautiful woman in the world. So stop this interracial madness. There's no love in it. It's just racist fetish fantasy between the white slave master and the black slave woman. Say no to the white man and say no to interracial now. Black woman, your future in survival depends on your resistance to white supremacy and black genocide. Long live Africa and long live black people, black power, and death to white supremacy. Oh, wow.
so we
Okay.
definitely hit the drama on that one.
Yeah.
I,
So I know you guys are gonna have a lot to say about this.
I have a lot to say on this one.
So Brent, I'm gonna let you go first, and then Vincent, I know you're gonna tear it up. So
Okay. Yeah, I'll get it warmed up for you, Vincent, so you can just totally destroy it. But yeah, this is a common narrative. Okay, this guy is blaming white supremacy, calling it genocide for interracial relationships. Right? The things he's saying is that almost identical to white supremacy that they complain about. And today's world, a lot of black men practice white supremacy. I know that sounds crazy and weird, but that's exactly what this guy is doing. And black supremacists would love this guy because he's telling black women to stay away from white men. Well, and that's what white supremacy wants. White people to stay together. And this clown is uplifting white supremacy. He's empowering white supremacy. How could he say death to white supremacy when he's lifting it up and keeping it alive? You know, and nobody's getting exterminating by procreating with each other. There's not one pure race except the human race. That's all of us. We got different, genetics. We look a little different, but we can procreate with each other. Why? Because we're human beings. Okay. And this thing, look, there's no slave master today, sir. There's no slave woman. And the fetish thing, to take care of the black femicide rate, we need to emphasize on black women because they're the most.
Okay, so you heard that dude Brent's take, right? So now listen, remember what I told y'all. Both of these dudes, Brent and Vincent, have biases because they have a reason to be pro black woman, right? But always listen to the words that people say, because regardless of where their bias lies, because everyone has bias, right? You get the gist of what they're saying. And what this dude just said, which was the most important, is that the part when he was talking about how these black males uplift white supremacy by trying to dictate the separation, and the separation not based on black males trying to come together to have a strong black family, become socioeconomically strong, build communities, etc. No, they're claiming this because they want to, talk about the boogeyman is coming. They want to commit genocide, and they never talk about black femicide, which is their killing of black women. So then when Brenda's talking about how the white men that end up having feelings for black women want to protect black women, they want to incorporate them and stuff like that, that is part of what black women have to understand as the area where you could use to get the most political power. So if you're in these relationships with these dudes, or you're in those areas and rooms of life where you could yield political power or even the political suggestion to empower black women, that is why, not only with white men, but with every other type of man in this world, because white men are not the only men of power in this world. So when you're wherever you are and you're in these rooms with men outside of black males where you can incorporate into the ear of these men, think about the benefit of black women. They need to be uplifted. They need to be part of the political influence. They have paid enough of their dues. They deserve this. That is what he's talking about. And that is what I always advocate for. Now, in doing that, this is the way I see things long term. When black women get out of the mindset of thinking that because they're having children with another type man, their children are not really black, and if they move away from the black man, they're going to be committing genocide, which is the silly shit Cynthia G talks, it's not true. And when this dude, Brent, was talking about we're all a human race, that's true to a certain extent, but the genetics of black women are stronger than any other person. We are Mother Earth. So recessive genes, which would be any man from any other race, will never, ever. Recessive genes do not dominate dominant genes. So I'm telling you this once again because you need to feel comfortable with breaking away from black males who are useless. Okay? So, and in doing that, you will stop and eliminate black femicide, poverty, the dysfunction of the black community. Because what will happen? Pay it forward. Play it forward. When black women move away from the ignorance of the ghettos and the poverty of the black communities, they have children with other men. They live better lives. Their children are educated. Those children that have black DNA in them, they will come in contact with other black people who are educated, not living in poverty, and who are not dumb and have this ghetto mentality. And they will give life to new they will give life to new black children in communities that are not like what we experience today, which is what you want to do. That's why it's important for us to understand that you need to do this breaking away from them. And it is not your job as black women to try to hold these guys up and make sure that you're still being their mommy, picking them up in your arms and holding them and carrying them on your back, because that's not your job as a black woman. So we're going to go back to the second part. We're going to let Brent finish out and then let this Vincent dude. And believe me, I'm not a fan of neither one, but I want you to hear the shit they're saying, because it does have relevance. So, and the relevance of it is for you to think and behave differently and stop thinking that you have to be like this warrior princess when it comes to dealing with the future of black males. That is their own quest to fight. That is their own battle and war they got to wage. And if they can't do it, then they need to disappear off the face of the earth and let new black men, not males, but black men be born so that they can do the right thing. So let's get back to that.
White power, because that's actually what he's doing. He's keeping us separated. And when white supremacy thrives, black supremacy does also. Once white supremacy is destroyed, black supremacy is too, and we come together. But, this is just the regular narrative. This is garbage. But anyway, Vincent, tear it up, man.
So you're right about the white supremacy thing. I mean, I'm not disagreeing with anything you say, but specifically, I want to talk about the white supremacy thing, because the thing is, I feel like black men think about and talk about white supremacy more than any white man I've ever known in my entire fucking life. You know what I'm saying? We do not have these weekly meetings where we're like the fucking Legion of Doom and we sit around the table like, gentlemen, tonight we destroy black men. We just don't think about y'all that much. You know what I'm saying? And
yeah, it's not that important.
And this shit where they're always talking about slavery, it's like some interracial relationship, and they talk about race play and slavery. I never knew what the fuck race play was until I heard black men talk about it. No white man I've ever known in my whole life has ever mentioned it. You know what I'm saying? But black men seem to talk about it all the fucking time. And I really do think part of this is jealousy of the white man. And I think part of it is their DL little bussy behavior. But this shit right here, where it's every time, like in this comment here, is she's doing that too. She's talking about we enslaved or whatever. Again, I didn't enslave anything, and I wouldn't if I liked a slave, and let's say I was in some reality where I owned slaves, well, then I would just free them. There was a pirate in New Orleans. He's from France, and he was from France, and he's a pirate named Jean Lafitte. And Jean Lafitte was in New Orleans, and he, throughout lots of pirate little things, got himself a very high bounty. He was pardoned by the president at the time after he helped defend New Orleans from the British, because they couldn't spare the troops because they were also at war with the North. So the North and South were at war, and the British were attacking Louisiana. So this pirate attacked them, right? So he helped. He's an American war hero, even though he's from France, just to do this, right? Just to get his pardon. And then after that, he threw it all away after he bought a black woman as a slave, freed her, married her, had kids with her. This was illegal at the time. He was now, once again, a wanted man. Now, not as big as all his pirate acts, but still, he threw away his pardon, or rather, he put a new crime on his now clean record just to be with her. Then he went back to his pirate ways and, eventually died a pirate's death. But he didn't fetishize a slave. He found a slave, he freed her, and he married her. You know what I'm saying? And this thing right here, where they think we're so into slavery, we're not. Y'all are the ones out here making buck breaking DVDs and shit. We don't fucking think about slavery in a sexy time way. That's just not what we think. We think about it when it comes to history, and then that's it. You know what I'm saying? We're told to think about it in February, so I guess we can think about it then. But besides that, I don't fucking care. You know what I'm saying? It's no one I know.
You said think about it in February. Yeah.
Okay, so that's going to be the last that I go back to that live to use clips, but I wanted you to hear that dude Vincent talk. I didn't think that shit was funny when he was talking about they think about slavery and during Black History Month, because you're not supposed to be thinking about slavery in Black History Month. Actually, you're supposed to think about Black history during Black History Month, which includes everything, not just slavery, right? So that dude has a bunch of issues all on his own, and I don't intend to go into them right now because I don't care for him. But I needed you to hear where they're coming from. And the only thing that dude said that made sense was the fact that when he's talking about how these black dudes worry more about slavery than white people and trying to remind you about what was done to you in order to keep you from dating out and being in relationships with these dudes and to stay fixed and focused on them. That was the point I wanted you to digest. That point and that point alone. Even that story that Vincent told about John Lafitte, right? Now, we're taught about him in school, and he was not a good man. When I tell you not a good man, he was a criminal pirate slaver. That's the part homie left out. But you could kind of figure it out when he says he bought a slave woman and then freed her. He bought the slave woman because that's what he was normally doing, buying and selling slaves amongst other criminal shit, because he was a pirate. And if any of you ever go to Louisiana, New Orleans in particular, and you go on one of those like tourist tours, walking tours with the white people, they're going to take you through the quarters. And they're going to take you down in the areas, the fourth quarter where I was that day, having horrible reception trying to do a video, just by the water, right? And they're going to tell you about all the pirates that used to plague Louisiana. And do you know what those white men used to do? They used to come in port and dock, get drunk in those bars that were right by the water there, steal black women, buy and sell black women. And John Lafitte was one of them. So even though he told this story in the most cleanest version he could, John Lafitte wasn't no fucking prize. And you know what? We don't have her version of the story. We don't even know if she really wanted to marry that dude, be freed, or have children with this guy. And I'm saying that for a reason, because all these people, these white people, when they tell these stories, they always coming from this white man burden sort of mentality. That woman, we don't know who she was, what her life was, or because I don't really know. But I mean, we could find out if we did research. But the thing is, that John Lafitte wasn't that black woman's savior. He was not. To be freed back in those days didn't really mean a motherfucking thing when you really think about it, because if a fugitive slave hunter, because remember, the fugitive slave law was active and well alive back then. If another white person or one of these slave hunters found you, you could be free or not. They throw your ass right back into slavery. So when they tell these stories, shit is never on the surface the way they say it is. You gotta know the history, go deeper, and find out what was actually happening during that time. And I just told you all of that right now to explain exactly about what we're saying and going through right now. Things are never as simple as all of these YouTubers and especially these black guys and black women that want to cry about keep the black family together, keep the black people together. It's never that simple. Black people are never going to disappear off the face of this earth. Never. We'll be the last people standing when everyone else is gone, because we're the first people that started this shit. So, but at the same time, when people scream all of this, the sky is falling, you got to stick together, you don't want black genocide. When you have so much black femicide, that is just a way for them to keep control over your behavior, your reactions, and what you do to benefit them. This is what all these people do when they're on here speaking. And I wanted to point that out with this particular live. But at the same time, let black women know you have to be on a forever journey of doing what's right for you and benefiting you and your children, not the collective of black women and black men. Black women collectively need to start getting with other men, becoming political, so that other little black girls could grow up in households with intact families, where the father is not black for the most part, they have money so that they could grow into a society where people are not looking down on them so readily the way that they do now because of the history of all of the nonsense the modern day black communities pose to America. Now, once again, I'm going to say it for the people in the back. Just because you're a black woman with another type of father over generations or families does not mean you turn into a white person. You are clearly looking at a very brown black woman that comes from many black women who have had all types of fathers except for black. Okay? So do understand that when they're telling you that if you continue to have children by other men, blackness is going to go away, it will not. To show you genetically, you physically are looking at a woman who comes from two light parents. One black parent, he was black with Native American. That was my father. From the St. Anne, Gullah Islands, right? He's black, Indian, whatever you want to call him. And then my mother comes from a woman who, her mother was taken by a white man. All right, so you call that a mulatto. So my mother was the product of a mulatto and a half black man. Then you have me, who's a product of a woman who's a mulatto and another half black man. But you see me, right? You see me. I'm blacker than all of them. So when you have all that stuff come together and there's still black in there, you will have black. So do not ever listen to people telling you black will wash itself out, because it won't. Because even like with my siblings and stuff, like our mother is from a mulatto woman, right? And a half black man. My niece is like, she is whatever I am. When you put it all together, I consider myself black 100%, right? But now my niece has a white father. So now she looks whatever she looks, and my nephew looks however they look. But my nephew just had a daughter with a black woman. That little girl looks 100% black. So do you understand what I'm telling you? Do not listen to them, because black is going to always be black, regardless of the parent. Especially when you keep incorporating black in there some kind of way. If somebody's black and if it's only the mama, then you always going to get black. So don't let these people ever convince you that if you have a different father from your kids won't be black. Because me and my family are living testament that shit is not true. It is not. It is not. And even when you have people that keep having children with white people and they become damn near white, the first time you introduce any type of color, any type of black color, even if it's a Hispanic, Asian, or half black, black will come right back. So don't believe it. What I want you to understand is that black women, you need to move out of this poverty. You need to move out of this enslaved mindset of thinking that you have to be holding to a man that is committing black femicide, sexually molesting your children, always only thinking about sex and you as a walking vagina. And it's a reality. If you look at all these black dudes on here giving relationship conversation, it all boils down to sex. I don't care who it is. And if you want to hear a gross example of what I'm saying, just go watch the latest video by that Nathaniel dude, the B Mindset podcast. He has a video he put up about having babies by bums. Right now, this guy is very clever. He comes on under the disguise of him trying to say that he's for black women. He's not. What he's for is the continuation of black women staying in dysfunctional relationships with black males, keeping the dysfunction in the black community, but he's pandering to black women so he can make $1 and beefing with black men online, the same way these white dudes, Vincent and Brent, are doing. So, black women, do you see now how everybody's trying to use you as a cash cow when you could simply put an end to this by understanding that just to hell with all of them. Get the man that is gonna like you and love you the best, provide you the best for you and your children. Get up and out of these communities and bring every woman that you can with you so that black children could be born again. Black communities can change overnight, and all this shit will stop. Once you move away from this bullshit on YouTube and you start living a different life in real life, reality will change for us. There will be no more, every time you turn around, some young girl is indoctrinated to being in a relationship with an older dude that stabs her 100 times, throws her baby either off a bridge or into some type of alligator-infested waters where her child is now killed. There will be no more of that. It has to begin with you. You have to save yourself and stop worrying about black men, period. Save black women and save black children. Stop worrying about black males, and you will be the better for it. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was enlightening, because I need black women to change mentally. Have a great day.